Baseball isn't just numbers, numbers, numbers.
This game is not being played on computers.
You don't do that with a bunch of statistical gimmicks.
You don't put a team together with a computer.
We're talking weighted runs created plus,
expected WOBA,
his sweet spot rate,
defensive runs above average,
average exit velocity,
barrel rate,
xFIP,
BABIP,
SIERA.
We are above replacement radio. And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball kind of whenever. I'm your host, Chris Gianta. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing very well today. It feels like we blinked and there are 5 weeks left in the regular season after tonight, which is crazy. I mean, we've already had the Rockies got eliminated from postseason contention today. Like, we are already at that point in the season, which is more of an indictment on the Rockies than how late in the season we are. But nonetheless, we're actually going to be doing a little something different today. Before every season, we do the exercise of picking one, perhaps a little more under the radar player from each team that we are excited for. And today we're going to be checking in on those 30 players that each of us selected to see how they're all doing, what we hit on, what we missed on. There's definitely, given the format and how we do the segment, I think you're meant to have more misses than hits. I can't speak for you, but for me, like, I definitely have more misses than hits, but the misses aren't as bad as they have been in terms of volume, but some of them are very loud this year.
Yeah, I'll say for myself, and I don't want to. I'm not like this norm. I'm not, crowning myself all the time, but this is probably the best year of players to watch for
Let's go, Chris.
myself in history, and it's so good. I don't think in however amount of years we do the podcast, I don't think I will ever top this.
That's hype.
This year. So we'll get into it. But it's exciting, and yeah, a different thing we did also this year was like kind of put numeric goals on each player. I didn't do it for every single one because Daniel kind of introduced the idea, and I've followed suit eventually and sort of improvise on the spot for some of them, but for some of them I didn't put goals, but for most of them I did once I got to the final 3 or 4. But yeah, it's a moment of accountability for us. It's 2 baseball podcasters versus accountability is kind of the show. But yeah, so we will go in reverse order of how things normally go. We will go NL West to East, and then AL West to East. So I guess do we want to start with
a loud swing and a miss from both of us, I believe.
Are we going? We'll
go same order that we revealed them. So we'll start with the Rockies.
Sounds good.
Yeah, which is I think a loud swing and a miss for both of us.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe we both took the same Rockies. Michael Toglia.
We did.
Yeah, so Michael Toglia is, one of the loud swings and misses that both of us have had this year. Not that there's really many guys on the Rockies that could have worked out. I guess you could have gone with Hunter Goodman, who was my 2024 Rockies player to watch. But other than that, I mean, what could you have picked on the Rockies that would have looked good this year? Like Jordan Beck? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's rough. Like, even, like, I guess, I don't know, none of the bullpen guys that were on anyone's radar this year have looked particularly good. South Halverson was like a under-the-radar guy for a lot of people. He's unfortunately been a bit rough. If you took a starting pitcher, that it's absolutely brutal. I'm sorry. We took a first baseman who is slashing 194, 261, 361 for a 623 OPS. That's a 65 OPS plus in Coors Field and 329 plate appearances.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal for sure. Yeah, I also took
Tolia.
I was it was abrupt. I wasn't on Zoom, so I thought you froze for a second, but no. So yeah, I had Michael Tolia. My goal for him was 30 plus home runs and a 115 OPS plus. He currently has 11 home runs and a 65 OPS plus. And I definitely wouldn't count on him hitting 19 more home runs this year, especially considering the fact that he is in the minor leagues. So yeah, I don't think he's going to hit either of those
No.
goals. His OPS
PCL
plus,
gives him an opportunity. You didn't specify Major League, did you?
I guess not. I mean I think that was assumed, but I
Yeah.
could win off a technicality. His OPS plus decreased 37 points, and also it's not really luck based. His expected WOBA this year is in the fifth percentile, and out of the how many players? Out of 234 hitters with 300 plus plate appearances this year, Michael Tolia had the second worst weighted runs created plus. So yeah, that's a pretty big flopper for both of us.
Yeah, my goal was for him to have an 850 OPS in at least 4 plate appearances. He's at 329, so probably not going to get there, especially if he's in the minors. And he would need to make up 227 points, 277 points of no, wait, I can't do quick math in my head. 227 points of OPS
Yeah,
uh, in a little over a month.
yeah, it'll be
So I
tough.
don't think that one's going to happen, unfortunately.
Nope, not at all.
On
So
to the
yeah,
Giants.
so yeah, on to the Giants.
I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I guess we'll snake it off. My Giants player to watch was Hayden Birdsong. My goal for him was 100 plus innings pitched and an above average ERA plus. He currently has an 81 ERA plus and 65 and two-thirds innings pitched, and he is also, like Michael Tolia, in the minors. His ERA plus is actually exactly what it was last year, which is definitely not a sign of a hit by any stretch, especially when you're talking about a guy who was heading into his age 23 season and was looking to was probably going to improve this year. However, that's not the case. He performed pretty much exactly uh how he did last year. Kind of differed or kind of alternated between excuse me, starter and reliever roles, but ended up with kind of the same output just on an inning per inning basis as last year. So um, we'll see. It could be a flop, but I mean, given the fact that he did pretty much the exact same thing as last year, it's kind of just a neutralized player to watch there. Who did you have as the Giants player to watch?
Yeah, so yours might be a flop. Mine is definitely a flop. I took second baseman Tyler Fitzgerald, who has been absolutely brutal this year. My goal for him was 4.5 FWAR. Not only did I put him as a player to watch, but I put him as the number 5 second baseman in baseball this year. I had very high expectations for Tyler Fitzgerald, who, for context, had a very good month and a half in 2024 and did so by pulling a lot of fly balls. He was also striking out a lot. He wasn't walking a ton. There was definitely a lot of risk with this pick, but I felt very good about it. And what I've seen is a 217, 287, 327 slash line for a 606 OPS in 243 plate appearances, and more importantly, 0.1 FWAR. So that's, he's 4.4 wins above replacement away. Like I said, one of the reasons I really liked him was because he was pulling a lot of fly balls. Last year, he pulled 43.5% of his fly balls. This year, he has only pulled 36.2% of them. That is a 7% decrease, and he has also dropped his pulled air rate by over 10%. So, and I also, he had rough defensive metrics last year at shortstop, but I felt like with Willy Adames coming in and him being more of a full-time second baseman, that would help his defense. It really hasn't. So, yeah, it's been a rough go around for Tyler Fitzgerald, who is, yeah, that my worst addition. I'll be honest. I have really nothing to show from here.
Right. So yeah, on to the Diamondbacks. I think we repeated on Diamondbacks as well. So why don't you talk about Pavin Smith?
Oh, this one was looking so good, man.
Yeah,
He
it
had
was.
so my goal for him was a 125 OPS plus and 450 plate appearances. What was yours?
Uh, I improvised it. I said 125 OPS plus. I did a thing I hated, by the way. This is a little tangent, but I said at least 300 to 350 plate appearances, which is sort of a paradox. Like
Yeah,
could
like
have
if he
just said
does it
at
in
least,
over 350, it would have been a
or at
miss.
least at least 300. So giving me the benefit of the doubt, since I said 300, I'll just say in at least 300. In
I
at
did
least
something
300 plate
similar with a
appearances.
later player. He had an 1103 OPS through the end of April, and since has a 646 OPS. Overall, it's a 254, 361, 431 for a 792 OPS, which is a 118 OPS plus. My goal was a 125 OPS plus, as was yours. So I mean, this one is still within reach. He just has to play better than he has recently. Unfortunately, he's missed a lot of time this season due to an oblique injury, which is why he is only at a 275 plate appearances. He's definitely not going to get to my 450 mark. He would need another 175 plate appearances this season. But he should get to yours.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, my goal exactly the same, 125 OPS plus, just in fewer plate appearances. And yeah, he would just need 25 more plate appearances to reach the plate appearance mark. And yeah, he has a 118 OPS plus right now. And yeah, he definitely played, he's played more than last year, has 117 more plate appearances than last year.
Yeah.
Not too much to say about it because yeah, it's not a flop or a hit at the current moment for
I
either of
think
them.
it definitely is more likely to be a hit than it is a flop,
Yeah, I would agree.
which
I would
is,
agree.
but that's probably the best I had to offer in this division.
Right, right, right. Um,
Everything else was brutal.
my um my Padres player to watch,
This was a
I didn't
tough one.
yeah, I didn't really know how this would go because the Padres I viewed as a very top heavy team, so it was hard to find, sort of an under the radar guy. We knew who was going to produce for them. So I picked a reliever and I just so happened to pick Adrian Morahone.
What a pick, dude. Holy cow.
And I I didn't have goals written down, so in the NL West that episode I had to listen back to it to find out the goals, and I kind of improvised on the spot, and I basically alluded to like for him to really be a hit, um, he'll have to have like a sub 2.5 ERA or sub 2.5 FIP in 60 plus innings pitched. He currently has a 1.81 ERA and 1.92 FIP in 59 and two-thirds innings pitched. So he needs one more out to get to the innings mark on that goal. He has improved his ERA plus by 89 points from 2024 to 2025, and he currently leads all relievers in F-WAR. Along with that, he has a 100th percentile expected ERA, 98th percentile average exit velocity against, and 92nd percentile ground ball rate. So, yeah, that one was kind of a blind squirrel moment. I just didn't really
Yeah.
there wasn't really a lot to choose from. So I just kind of went with a reliever who did well last year. And lo and behold, um, it was a jumping off point. And he's turned into one of the best relievers in baseball, the best according to
Yeah.
F4.
You could probably make a case that this is the best player you could have possibly picked on the Padres.
Yeah, very
I
possibly.
think the only other people you can make a case for would be Nick Pivetta and maybe Jason Adam.
Yeah, right.
But
Absolutely.
even
Yeah.
then, I would take Morahone.
Yeah, yeah. It's a certainly decision. Who did you have as your Padres player to watch?
Yeah, I also took a reliever. This one did not work out in the way that Adrian Morahone did. This was I picked Sean Reynolds, who my goal for him, he was in the minor leagues to start this year, and I didn't expect him to play much. My goal was 35 plus innings pitched and a strikeout rate above 25%, which definitely doesn't guarantee you anything. You could have a strikeout rate above 25% in 35 innings and be bad, certainly. Unfortunately, that's exactly what he's done, and he doesn't have the strikeout numbers to go along with it. So far, he's pitched 24 and a third innings. He has a 5.55 ERA, a 5.42 FIP, a 21.2% strikeout rate, but more notably, a 12.5% walk rate. I remember I really hadn't thought about him much, but I saw him come into a game in relief against the Red Sox about a few weeks ago, and he walked like four batters. And I checked his Stevan page for the first time that night, and it looked kind of similar to how it does now. It was pretty rough. So yeah, that's once again another miss for me in the NL West. Sean Reynolds has not worked out to this point.
Yeah, yeah. And then for we have
Yeah.
another
Oh,
double flop on
this
the
is a brutal
Dodgers.
one. I felt so good about Michael Conforto, dude.
Me too. Uh who did you want to talk more about
Yeah, I
Michael
mean,
Conforto?
uh, it's not just the fact that we were both very confident in him. It's just the fact that he, I don't know, has a minus -0.9 F WAR this season as a whole. And he's getting everyday playing time for the Dodgers. He literally has 400 plate appearances this year with a 183, 293, 314, 607 slash line. He's not playing good defense. His barrel rate is down. His everything is down pretty much. His walk rate is up, and that's pretty cool. But a lot of the reason I liked him was because he pulled the ball a lot. His pulled air rate has gone down from 22% last year to 16.7% this year. My goal was an 850 OPS in a qualifying season. He has a 71 OPS plus and would need to make up another 242 points in OPS to get to my goal.
Yeah, I also had Michael Conforto. So yeah, we repeated 3 times in the NL West. I don't think we had a whole lot of repeats outside of the NL West,
No, no.
but my goal for him was a 125 OPS plus and 450 plus plate appearances. He currently has a 71 OPS plus, or at least he did heading into today, in 397 plate appearances. His OPS plus decreased 45 points from 2024 to 2025. I think luck does have a good bit to do with it, unfortunately for him, or I guess fortunately for him. His BABIP has dropped 49 points from last year to this year, and out of 159 hitters to see 1,500 plus pitches heading into Sunday, he had the unluckiest difference in batting average and expected batting average, third unluckiest difference in WOBA and expected WOBA, and sixth unluckiest difference in slugging and expected slugging. And he's doing this with a 26% pulled fly ball rate, which is technically below average, but only it's 26.3%. It's 1.2 percentage points below league average. So he's right around average in terms of pulled fly balls, and he is one of the unluckiest hitters in baseball this year, unfortunately. Not that
Yeah.
if he had normal luck, he would be a hit, but he wouldn't be his floppage would not be as pronounced.
Yeah. I think the best guys you could have picked for the Dodgers would be either Andy Pajes or Jack Dreyer. Those would be my picks. Or maybe, oddly enough, like legit Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
would have been obviously for namesake, it's not anything, it's not anything that we would go for, but he's definitely outperformed, I think, what anyone would have expected of him this year.
right. Yeah, no, he like kind of almost saved the Dodgers rotation, it seems like. Yeah, what's he at right now? He's at a
He's at a
3-1.
3.13 ERA.
Yeah, 3.79 FIP, 134 ERA plus, 83 innings. That's pretty crazy.
You know
Um,
what's so funny? Kershaw, since the start of 2022, has a 2.71 ERA in 371 innings.
yeah, no, he's just he's
He
never
really hasn't missed a beat. And like in terms of FIP, he has, but like he's still just not allowing runs, no matter how he's doing it.
he never he just never allows runs. No matter how many innings he throws, he always has a low ERA. It's just the case. It's
It's
just
it's
the case.
it's incredible.
Um,
Would be
so
very funny if this turns out to be his like best postseason run of his career is this year.
right, right.
Imagine at 37, he just puts the playoff narratives to rest.
Yeah, it's all gone.
That
All
would be very
gone.
funny. Thankfully for me, the NL Central is a much better division. In fact, it's probably one of the best overall divisions I've ever had in the 6 seasons we've been doing this exercise at this
Yes.
point. Like my worst flop in the NL Central, which I'm about to get to, might be better than my best hit from the NL West. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, I took Spencer Horwitz, who missed a lot of time with injury, unfortunately. But my goal for him was to be a 2.5 win player, which would make Pirates first baseman above replacement overall since 2020. Obviously, that's a bit misleading because there are other guys that can play first and be below replacement, and therefore keep the Pirates below replacement at that position. But he is slashing 259, 327, 391, 717 for a 100 OPS plus, which is I think that makes him like the best hitter on the Pirates, and I'm not even kidding. Like regardless of qualifiers, and he is at 0.6 F4. He's not going to get to 2.5, so ultimately this won't be a hit. But it's not the loudest flop, and like I said, he missed time with injury, which is tough.
Yeah, yeah.
His OPS plus is tied for second best on the Pirates, like regardless of number of plate appearances. It's Tommy Pham leading the team with a 104.
Right, yeah. There's not a lot of you know, not a big wrecking crew in in terms of hitters in the Pirates lineup, that's for sure. Um, my um, my player to watch from the Pirates, I went, I guess, reliever diving. I don't know if that's a term for players to watch, but
Sure.
it is a very enticing thing to do. But it definitely creates for the most flop potential because guys
Mhm.
can just put up an 80 ERA one year. However, my player to watch, Dennis Santana, has done a pretty good job this year. My goal for him, what I noted was, I know I forget who he got traded from, but he got traded in the middle of last season to the Pirates and completely transformed, turned into a really good reliever with the Pirates. But his overall ERA on the year was still near 4. Um, um, with combined with both teams. So my goal for him was a sub 3 ERA and 60 plus innings pitched. He currently has a 2.28 ERA and 55 and a third innings pitched, including today. And heading into Sunday, his ERA plus had improved 77 points. And out of 88 relievers with 50 plus innings pitched this year, Santana has the 14th lowest ERA, excluding today. It might go up a rank because he's pitched a scoreless inning today. So Dennis Santana, he was a how about that of mine. He was the last
Yeah,
yeah, he was the pirate that
the pirate.
crossed all the teams off the list last year in terms of players to highlight. So he was the how about that last year. I put him as a player to watch this year, and he's come through. Been probably their best reliever this year, unless I'm missing somebody, but definitely one of the best relievers, one of the better relievers in baseball this year. So that's my pirate, and I guess if we snake it, we'll talk about or actually, yeah, in the list, in the order we revealed them. So Nick Lodolo of the Reds, as we're doing the Reds next, they finished fourth last year. So yeah, I had Nick Lodolo. My goal for him was a 110 ERA plus in 140 plus innings pitched. He currently has a 149 ERA plus in 129 and two-thirds innings pitched. His ERA plus improved 57 points. And I will say, yeah, a lot of this has to do with luck factors. He definitely got unlucky last year and is probably a little bit on the luckier side this year. However, his FIP did go down 0.23, so he did improve under the surface. And he's also already thrown 14 and a third more innings pitched than he did last year. He's currently on the injured list, but he did just pitch a 3 inning simulated game. So he'll probably, if he returns soon, he may be able to get to like 150 innings pitched, or somewhere around there. And yeah, I mean, he's been one of the best pitchers for the Reds this year and probably will continue that if he does return. So yeah, Nick Lodolo is another success story so far.
Yeah.
He could definitely have a few blow up starts and ruin it. But yeah, 149 ERA plus this year for Nick Lodolo. Who is your red to watch?
It was also Nick Lodolo. I took him as
Oh
well.
yeah, I forgot.
Yeah. My goal for him was 150 plus innings pitched with an xFIP below 350. The reason I went with xFIP, which is a little non-conventional for these types of predictions, is he's a guy that's going to strike out a lot of guys. He's going to walk few guys. The problem, of course, is he pitches in Great American Ballpark as a home field. He's a fly ball pitcher, and I felt like he was just by nature of his own archetype and his ballpark going to give up a lot of home runs. So I felt like xFIP was the best way to truly evaluate him. He is at a 3.68 xFIP right now, so definitely not where I want him to be, but well within reach. Obviously, I'll take not getting to the xFIP if he throws 150 innings and has an ERA close to the sub 3 marker. He did recently go on the IL with a blister, as Chris noted. Looking at some of the guys that would have been the best picks for this team, I'm thinking of maybe Austin Hayes, who is at a 103 OPS plus, not terrific, but definitely solid. Noelvi Marte would have been a good one. I think the best one you could have chosen was Andrew Abbott, who is rocking a 2.62 ERA. Yeah, I don't know who else. Anyone else that you're thinking? Maybe Tony Santillan, one of your former Reds to watch, has been pretty
Yeah, I
good
mean,
this year.
he really is rocking a sub 3 ERA this year. Didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Abbott, as you mentioned, even him, like his I guess his FIP definitely got a lot better. His ERA improvement is fairly similar to Lodolo's.
Yeah.
But yeah, FIP wise, he's definitely gotten better. It's largely home run prevention for him. But yeah, I mean, I think we did a good job on Lodolo. On
Yeah.
to um, I think the Cubs we
The
revealed.
Oh, did we do the Cubs first? They tied,
Yeah,
right? All
yeah,
right.
right.
Well, I'll just go ahead and give you what will probably end up being my hit of the year. Probably maybe the best player I've ever chosen for this exercise. I went with Matthew Boyd from the Chicago Cubs. I really liked his late season stretch that he had with Cleveland that extended into the postseason, and I felt like it was maybe sustainable. Although my goal for him really should have been a lot better. I had him with 120 plus innings pitched and a 100 ERA plus. Instead, he is rocking a 2.61 ERA, which is good for a 145 ERA plus. He's already surpassed 120 innings. He's at 148, a 3.28 FIP, and not only that, but he made his first career All-Star game. He had his lowest career walks per nine and the lowest home runs per nine he's had in any season throughout his career in the majors, with at least 15 innings pitched. Yeah, I mean, he has been an ace type of pitcher for the Cubs in a season where they desperately needed it. Obviously, they lost Justin Steele earlier in the season. They lost Shota Imanaga for a period of time, and outside of those two, there's really no one that's you really look to in that Cubs rotation to step up and be the guy. At least that's what the mindset would have been if you had said that preseason. But Matthew Boyd has absolutely stepped up and been the guy that they needed in that rotation. Should the Cubs make the playoffs, he will almost certainly be starting games for them. I would argue this is the best player you could have picked on the Cubs. I think Daniel Palencia would have been a shot at that. Someone in the bullpen, because their bullpen has been really solid. I don't know. I guess if you picked Drew Pomeranz, that would have been pretty crazy. But
I
Matthew
agree.
Boyd, I think, is I'm very happy with that one.
I agree that would have been crazy. I think like we probably just since we
Or
were
Carson Kelly. Actually, that might be the best one you could have picked.
Carson Kell. I mean, yeah, that is a crazy one. If
Absurd that just happened. Because Pico
if we're
Armstrong, I would argue, is too high profile.
yeah,
Even if he hasn't really done it, especially to this degree this year. We hadn't even seen him be an above average bat. He would have been out of contention for me for this exercise personally.
yeah, like anytime you put someone top 10 positionally, it's hard to especially like I think you put him 8, I think I put him 7. So like, it's not like I think I put two guys who I had like exactly at number 10 on positional ranks, but nothing above that
Yeah.
in terms of players to watch. Yeah, like maybe a couple years ago, or maybe like at the start of the podcast, we would have been highlighting someone like Pico Armstrong, and that would have been like the flop or the hit of the podcast, like the hit of the
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah,
year.
we would have been like, I have him with 4 F4 this year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh,
Um,
he actually got 7, but hey, we're counting it.
yeah. So my Cub is definitely one of my flops. I picked Porter Hodge out of the Cubs bullpen.
Oh,
My
oh,
goal,
that's so rough.
my
Oh,
goal
that's
for him,
brutal. Oh,
my
that's
goal for
so
him
sad.
it's actually kind of funny the timing of how we're doing this. My goal for him was be the Cubs closer by August 15. Um, he's currently in the minors, so
Yeah,
he's
he did
not
have 2 saves.
did have 2 saves, and Ryan Presley is out of the
No,
closer
I mean he
role.
was the closer for a couple days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he was, but he's not current. He wasn't the closer
No,
on August 15, which I guess
no
was um, the technical
date.
ruling
Yeah,
there. He had a 6.85 ERA and 5.82 FIP in the majors, and in the minors doesn't look much better. He has a 7.53 ERA, although I think a sub 4 FIP, but who really cares? 7.53 ERA in the minors. So yeah, Porter Hodge is a big flopperooski for myself, but at least at the current moment, maybe he could salvage it in September as a September call up, but doesn't look like that will be the case. So now on to the Cardinals. As we'll swing it back to me. Um, I this one, I think this is kind of a net neutral, maybe a little bit more on the flop side, but I picked Quinn Matthews in their minor league system. Anytime you pick a minor leaguer, there is the risk of them just not being called
You
up.
do that every year. You pick
Yeah,
one minor leaguer that just doesn't play.
shout out Brennan Davis.
Ricky Tiedemann.
Yeah, Tiedemann.
I think you completely cursed Brennan. Actually, you probably completely cursed both of them. None of them are like on anyone's radar at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can't.
Tiedemann was like very much supposed to be an ace.
There's no evidence that's not the case. That's for
But
sure.
you do have a good one coming up later. I do remember that.
Yeah. But yeah, Brennan Davis. I picked him in like 2022, and I still don't think he's ever played a major league game.
Nope.
But Quinn Matthews, my goal for him was to have a strikeout minus walk rate of at least 17% in 10 plus major league starts. Currently, he has zero major league starts, so he's not going to get to 10 unless they call him up and make him old Hoss Radborn. But yeah, he has zero major league starts, and in the minors, he has 3.60 ERA, 4.21 FIP, only an 11% strikeout minus walk rate in 75 innings. So he's had a walk problem in the minors, and I think that's part of the reason why he just hasn't been called up to the Cardinals. But yeah, he just never got called up, so I guess that's more on the flop side. But yeah, who is your Cardinals player to watch?
Mine was pretty decent. Definitely more than a net neutral, although not like an outstanding, unbelievable pick. It's Ivan Herrera, who I wanted to see put up a 120 weighted runs created plus or higher in 350 plate appearances. Currently, he has a 283, 360, 427, 786 slash line, which is good for a 124 weighted runs created plus in 318 PAs. So he is on track to get there. He is on track to make this one a hit. Unfortunately, he did miss some time with a bone bruise earlier in the season, but he is back now. He hasn't been hitting as much as of late, but I'm very confident he can get back to it. And yeah, this is a good one. In terms
Yeah,
of best Cardinals, it's probably just a bunch of relievers and also Brendan Donovan. I think Ivan Herrera is probably the best position player you could have taken on this team.
yeah, probably. I would probably, yeah, I would have to guess that. Um,
I don't know if
but
Brendan Donovan like fits the mold or not. Wilson Contreras definitely doesn't.
Um, yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah,
But
and Donovan, I know I had him like 7 on my second base list. We both had him top 10.
yeah,
So like it would have been hard to justify him being a player to watch, especially on a team that's, on the shallower end like the Cardinals, talent wise. Um, so who did you have on the Brewers?
yeah. For the Brewers, it was very hard to miss on this team, and I thankfully didn't. I took Nick Mears, who is one of their relievers. He's not going to do what my goal was, which was lead the Brewers relievers in F4. But he does have a 2.96 ERA and 3.36 FIP in 48 and two-thirds innings. That's good enough for him to rank third among all Brewers relievers in F4. So yeah, not going to hit my goal, but I'm not going to call this one a miss by any means. It's definitely, I'd say this is like maybe a top 10 pick for me this season. Wouldn't call it one of my big highlights, but it's one that I'm happy with.
Yeah, that's a solid one. Yeah, I definitely flopped on the
Yeah,
Brewers.
on a team where you could have closed your eyes, blindfolded yourself, thrown a dart, and found your way into a hit.
Yeah, I mean, who didn't see the Isaac Collins
Yeah,
rookie of the
right.
year run happening?
You're telling me you
Um,
didn't think Bryce Terang would have a like 200 weighted runs created plus over a month?
yeah, I mean we all knew that was coming from Bryce Terang. Um, but yeah, my Brewers player to watch was Garrett Mitchell. My goal for him was to put up 3+ F4 this year. His only issue was injuries, and that continued this year. He currently has point 0.4 F4 in 25 games, and he's out for the season. So, you know, got another season-ending injury. It's pretty crazy. I think he's played in 4 different major league seasons and is yet to play more than 69 games in a year. 2024 was the most he had ever played. Just yeah, just has not been able to stay on the field. And yeah, that's why my Brewers player to watch did not succeed. Um,
No.
so now we move on to the National League East. any thoughts on how we did on the National League East?
I had definitely not great. Not as bad as the NOS, but definitely not good.
Yeah, we'll start with the Marlins,
Marlins.
as they were the last place team of 2024. Um, my and this one is a team that there were a lot of available options on hits, and I didn't necessarily choose one. My player to watch was Ryan Weathers, um, in that
That
starting
one was
rotation.
looking good at one point, though.
Yeah, and I mean,
To be fair,
he's hit half my goal at the current
yeah.
moment. My goal for him was to maintain a 120 ERA plus in 25 plus starts. He currently has a 135 ERA plus, but nowhere near 25 starts. He has a 24 and two-thirds innings pitched this year, and he has not pitched since June 7. So just a injury getting in the way of greatness on my end, unfortunately. But you'll I can't say you live and you learn because you can't really predict injuries like that. But just some unfortunate luck there for Ryan Weathers. But maybe just an opening to be a 2026 player to watch. Who knows? Who is your Marlins player to watch?
Oh, yeah, like you mentioned, a lot of good hits you could have had on this team. Kyle Stowers, who I had previously put as an Orioles player to watch, would have been obviously the best one you could have had. There's plenty of, especially Jacob Marcy would have been a good hit if you wanted to pick someone that was brought in from the Tanner Scott trade. Pretty much any reliever, whether it be Calvin Fauché, Tyler Phillips, Ronnie Henriquez, Lake Bacher, Anthony Bender. I mean, there's a lot of hits you could have had on this team. Unfortunately, I had maybe my funniest flop of all time. I picked Jonah Bride, who was released from the Marlins after 12 games, in which he hit 100, had a 200 OBP, a 100 slugging, and a 300 OPS. He was DFA'd by the Marlins on April 15th, traded to the Twins 3 days later. I don't believe he is still in the Twins organization either. Unless I know he is, but he's in the minors there. My goal for him was to lead the team in home runs. He didn't hit a single extra base hit. So this was a pretty brutal one for me. I think this is just about as bad as it can get.
Yeah, that'll happen. Always a bad sign when your player to watch just gets released.
On April 15th on Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at least Jonah Bride did play for the team in question this year, even if it was terrible. DJ Hers from the Nationals, however, cannot say such a thing. This one is just unfortunate. He started the year injured. It was announced on April 16th, a day later. What a 1-2 punch for me, man. April 15th, Jonah Bride gets released by the Marlins. April 16th, it's announced that DJ Hers is undergoing Tommy John surgery. That was just an absolute brutal 1-2 punch for me that week.
Uh,
Um, yeah, my goal for him was 138 plus innings pitched with a 9.5 strikeouts per nine or higher. He did not pitch this year. There's not much else to say about that. My national was pretty tough. In terms of best hits, I don't really like James Woods. Definitely not. Like that's too high profile for us. I don't know who would have been the best hits for this team.
yeah, it's tough. They
Like
kind of had a disappointing year. Even
Dalen Lyle, I guess, has been all right. Alex Call before he got traded was pretty decent. Like Mackenzie Gore would have been too high profile for us.
yeah,
I don't know. Brad Lord, I guess, would have been like the number one hit you could have had on this team.
right.
And this was
Yeah.
this was kind of a trap. Who'd you put for the Nationals?
For the Nationals, I put definitely a pretty high profile guy. A guy I had at top 10 positionally. I put Nathaniel Lowe,
Oh,
who's killing it for the Red Sox
oh,
right now.
yeah,
But my goal for Nathaniel Lowe was a 130 OPS plus in a qualifying season. And he has qualified. He has 508 plate appearances this year,
yeah,
but his OPS plus is 92. Um, his OPS plus
yeah.
decreased 31 points from 2020, from 2024 to 2025, and he ended up being waived by the Nationals in August. So it's as we mentioned, pretty bad sign when you get waived or DFA'd or released by your team and you're a player to watch of ours. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely. I think no matter how he does with the Red Sox, I'm gonna have to label that a flop. Um, so yeah, Nathaniel Lowe, not especially given the fact that Nathaniel Lowe was already one of the better players on the Nationals, not really under the radar. So when you get a higher profile guy and you flop, that's real bad.
Yeah.
So on to the Met. Was it
Yep. But
Mets?
yeah, it was the Mets because they were the 6th seed and the Braves were the 5 seed.
The Mets, timing wise, this works out great for me. Um, just in terms of how the goal worked out. Uh, my goal or my player to watch from the Mets was David Peterson. My goal for him was 150 plus innings pitched and a sub 3.5 FIP. And he pitched today through
Nice.
he came in entering he entered today with 144 and a third innings pitched. He pitched 5 2/3 innings pitched, which means guess what? He has exactly 150 innings pitched this year, and his FIP is 3.31, which is
Hell yeah.
obviously below 3.5. So yeah, he's on track to do it. Obviously he could give up a few extra home runs and surpass that mark, but yeah, looking like a good pick. And he currently leads Mets pitchers in innings, B WAR, and F WAR. So he's been their best pitcher, definitely in the starting rotation, and been pretty consistent throughout the year. So that's David Peterson. Who was your Mets player to watch?
Yeah, my Mets player to watch was another guy from that starting rotation. It was Clay Holmes, who honestly, like, when I went in to do all this research today, I thought this one was gonna look way worse. My goal for him this year was I was very vague with it. I didn't put anything numerical in there. I just wanted him to be a frontline starter, whatever you take that to mean. He has a 3.6 ERA this year and a 4.08 FIP in 137 and a third innings pitched. Uh, Obviously, he set a career high in innings pitched this year for any season, and since doing that, uh, he has a 4.11 ERA and a 4.24 FIP. So I don't know if frontline starter is exactly the way I would describe Clay Holmes this year, but this one's certainly not a miss. I mean, I think he's been pretty decent for a guy that one is far surpassing his career innings total and also transitioning back into being a starter after being a closer for a long time. This one isn't too bad. And honestly, I don't really know. I think David Peterson actually might have been, given the goals that you set for him, maybe one of the best Mets you could have picked this year.
Right. Yeah, no.
Unless you had like unless you had Jonah Tong or Nolan McLean.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
right.
I don't know, Chris, have you looked at Jonah Tong's minor league numbers this year? I know I've
Uh,
mentioned him like numerous times to you.
I have not.
You should look at them like right now.
Uh, Jonah Jonah Tong.
Yep.
Jonah Tong, born June 19, 2003.
Canadian. Markham, Ontario.
Hey. Oh yeah. Yeah. 113 and 2/3 innings with a 1.65 FIP. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
14.2 strikeouts per nine, and he's allowed
2 home
0.16
runs.
home. He's allowed two total home runs and 113
Yep.
and wow. That's
Yeah.
pretty unbelievable.
That's pretty crazy.
That
Yeah.
would be like if he didn't come up and you picked him, I think that's still a hit.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I wish
Uh,
I went with Nolan McLean, but I did not. I have justbaseball.com. I interviewed both McLean and Tong this year. There's stories up about both of them. McLean recently made his debut. He's pitched very well in 2 separate games.
yeah, shout out, shout out.
Yeah.
But I believe we doubled up on another Holmes in the
Yes, we
NL East.
did.
Who,
Grant Holmes,
yes,
who
exactly.
so my goal for him, this was again very subjective, very non-numbery. My goal for him was for him to stay in the rotation after Spencer Strider returned from his injury. He was fighting for the 5th spot in that rotation. He did stay in the rotation. Unfortunately, he's now out of it due to an elbow injury, which has taken him out for the rest of the season. But before that, he had a 3.99 ERA, a 4.37 FIP, and 115 innings pitched. A lot of the reason why I liked him was because he had a very high chase rate. I believe he led all starting pitchers in chase rate last year. Minimum a certain number of pitches as a starter. It was 36% last year. Unfortunately, it is down to 28.8% this year, but I think with a higher sample size, that's kind of just a natural thing. I don't think you can expect that. I would, same thing as Holmes. Wouldn't call it a hit, wouldn't call it a miss. I'd call this very middle of the road.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, my goal for him was a 120 ERA plus in 20 plus starts. He currently has a 105 ERA plus in 21 starts. So I think he's on the IL right now.
Yes. Yeah, I elbow injury out for the year.
Yeah, if he wasn't out for the year and he could get some more starts, he could have hit that goal. But yeah, ERA plus regressed 12 points. I will say under the surface, he definitely got a bit worse. His FIP increased by over a run. But still, yeah, it would be hard to label it a flop, and if it is a flop, it's probably on the lower end. So yeah, that is Grant Holmes. Onto the Phillies. My Phillies player to watch was Bryson Stott, who I think on other teams would be a little bit higher profile, but when you got, the Schwarbers, Wheelers,
Yeah. Real
Christopher
quick,
Sanchez.
for the Braves, I just want to see who would have been like the top hits this year. Jurickson Profar is probably 2. Maybe Drake Baldwin, but even then he was a top prospect coming up. I don't know. There was really no way to hit on this team. I guess Pierce Johnson has been really good. Dylan Lee, maybe. This is a rough one.
Yeah, it was really, as I think it was talked about within the bold predictions draft. I think Rob poignantly asked the question of like who's going to be the random Braves pitcher with a sub-2 ERA, and I don't think they found that yet, unfortunately.
Nope. Well, yeah, maybe they have though. I'll talk about that later in the show.
All right, yeah. So yeah, Bryson Stott was my Phillies player to watch. My goal for him was 3.5 F4. He currently has 2.3 and he's on pace for 2.9. So he's in the ballpark.
He's got to have a hot month.
Yeah, he's got to have a hot month to reach that goal. His OPS plus has increased 5 points and he has 6 more outs above average. One thing I did point out was like, I think I pointed out some luck stuff on the hitting end, and then I pointed out like I think he went from 17 outs above average to 0 outs above average, and I'm like, there can't be that much there can't be that much fluctuation going on. Like he's probably somewhere in the middle, and this year has kind of proved that on a defensive standpoint. He's not, he's not at the 17 level, he's not at the 0 level. He has 6 outs above average this year. He'll probably end up, with 7, 8, or 9. But yeah, he's not really a hit, not really a flop, but just kind of he did improve this year, or he has improved this year so far, I believe. Who was your Phillies player to watch?
Yeah, my Phillies player to watch probably would have been considered too high profile on other teams, but the Phillies have so many guys and you just got to find one. And for me, that was Max Kepler, who they, brought in coming off a down year, who I thought could maybe, find his old self with a new team. I felt like, the dimensions in Philadelphia would be better suited for lefties than the ones in Target Field. However, that's just not been the case. My goal for him was a 750 OPS. Right now, he's got a 214, 299, 377, 676 OPS for an 83 OPS plus and 392 plate appearances. It just hasn't really worked out for him, unfortunately. I don't want to say that I'm just like lost on hope for this one. I think he also could have a hot month and, maybe not get to 750, but definitely salvage something more than a flop out of this one.
Right. Yeah, Max Kepler has been I think a 2-time player to watch on this show. He was a player to watch of mine. He was a hit of mine in 2023, I believe. But on to the American League West. Who did you have on the Angels?
My Angels one is very interesting. So I took a minor leaguer who hasn't played this year in the majors. His name is George Clausen. He was acquired from the Phillies in the God, who was it? There's a reliever that went from the
Estevez.
Estevez. Thank you. It was a reliever that went to the Angels in the Carlos Estevez trade last year. My goal, which is like still something that can happen, in the Angels rotation by the end of the season and on track to be in the 2026 opening day rotation. So unless they want to keep throwing Kyle Hendricks out there, this could very much still happen. But right now he has some fascinating minor league numbers, Chris. It is a 6.09 ERA, but a 3.47 FIP in 85 and 2/3 innings pitched in Double-A. He has 10.72 strikeouts per nine, a 3.62 BABIP against. He was in the Futures game representing the Angels. A fascinating year. Not calling it a flop despite the 6.09 ERA in the minor leagues, because I still believe that my goal can very much be achieved. And in fact, he should be in the they should just bring him up. Why not?
Yeah.
Where does Baseball America have him in their top 30s right now? Let me check the Angels rankings, because they have a terrible farm system. They got him number 5 behind Christian Moore, who obviously came up this year, Tyler Brenmer, who they drafted this year, Caden Dana, who's been their top pitching prospect for like years now, Ryan Johnson, and then you got Clausen.
Yeah. It'd be cool to see him up. That's for sure. My Angels player to watch was Nico Cavadas, the first baseman. My goal for him was a 100 OPS plus and 250 plus plate appearances, and he currently in the majors is 1 for 5 with a single and a walk.
Our Angels players have combined for 5 plate appearances.
5 batter pitcher interactions in the majors combined between our Angels picks.
That's got to be an all-time low for us. But then again, I still think I'm still optimistic Clausen comes up this year.
Yeah, that should happen. Cavadas, I guess to his credit, has a 104 weighted runs created plus in AAA this year. So good on him. But yeah, he has 6 plate appearances in Major League Baseball this year. Just I guess did not prove it. And I think, I forget, I think it was a 533 OPS in those 6 plate appearances. So even then he didn't really he didn't have what I had last year. I think I had Stone Garrett as a player to watch, and he had one or 2 plate appearances and a 2000 OPS.
Yeah.
But he was an honorable mention on the hits. But on to the Athletics. This one is probably going to be a hit for me. I put Tyler Soderstrom.
Nicely done.
My goal for him was a 125 OPS plus and 350 plus plate appearances. Heading into Sunday, he had a 125 OPS plus in 522 plate appearances. So even if he doesn't end up at that 125 mark, the fact that he's an everyday player is a big upgrade from what he had last year. So that's probably going to be a hit. He's 3rd on the Athletics currently in batting run value, and he also has 80th percentile expected WOBA and 83rd percentile average exit velocity. He had some really good underlying stuff last year, and I think he's kept it up and reaped the results off of it. Because I think he ran into a little bit of poor luck last year. So yeah, Tyler Soderstrom was my Athletics player to watch. Who was yours? Who's your Athletics player to watch?
Yeah, mine was not a hit like yours. I took Osvaldo Bido, who I wanted to see make 25 starts. He has pitched in 19 games thus far this season, 9 of which have been starts. He has pitched more as a reliever than a starter. And in doing so, just total, he has a 5.37 ERA, 5.98 FIP, and 65 1/3 innings pitched. Yeah, this one, I mean, note to self, never take an A's pitcher in the Sacramento era. I know that Jacob Lopez, before today when he got lit up by the Mariners, would have been a hit, but yeah, just take a random hitter, man. They'll probably find their way into a bunch of home runs. I would have considered Nick Kurtz to be too high profile this year. I definitely would have done the same with Jacob Wilson. I think like probably Shea Langoliers would have been like the top hit for this team. I don't know. I don't know where you would have stood on Nick Kurtz before this year.
Yeah, I think Kurtz would have been good. I mean, I forget where he was ranked.
I would have considered him too high profile. Well, he was taken fourth overall in the draft.
True. But
And was like an
we didn't
absolute freak show at Wake Forest.
we didn't know when he was gonna come up.
Yeah.
I'm looking on his reference page to see what his preseason rank was prospect wise. He was, I mean, he was outside the top 30. He was 38 on Major League Baseball, 33 on Baseball Prospectus, and 34 on Baseball America. He was kind of ranked around where Quinn Matthews was ranked, but
Okay.
definitely draft wise, he was more high profile than
Yeah.
Matthews. Um, but yeah, it could have been tough on that end. But yeah, Langoliers would have been a good one for sure. Who is your Rangers player to watch?
Yeah, my Rangers player to watch was a bit of a weird one. It was their backup catcher. I took Kyle Higashioka, who I thought would maybe put up a pretty decent season. My goal for him was a 110 OPS plus, which would be a career high for him. Currently, he's at 101. So I mean, it's he's not there, but it's within reach. He is slashing 246, 292, 403 for a 695 OPS in 253 plate appearances. I felt like he pulled the ball a lot in 2024 with the Padres. He is still doing so with the Rangers. The results just haven't quite come yet. But yeah, I mean he's 6 OPS plus points away from his career high. I would consider, like, I know I said 110, but if he gets to 108, I would consider that a win.
Yeah,
Even if
absolutely.
it's not, it's not he definitely won't be in my top 5 hits unless he has a massive month of September.
Right, right. My Rangers player to watch was Tyler Mahle. My goal
That
for
one was
him,
looking good.
it was looking good for sure. My goal
Yeah.
for him was to have a FIP below 3.6 in 120 plus innings pitched. Currently has a 3.39 FIP in 77 innings pitched, and he was shut down from throwing 2 months ago, and it doesn't seem like there's really any injury update on him. So I can only assume he's not going to pitch the rest of the regular season. So we'll come up 43 innings short on the goal, but FIP wise, he looked great. Also a 2.34 ERA. Out of 146 pitchers with 70 plus innings pitched this year, his ERA ranks fifth. But yeah, it would be hard to qualify that as a hit because he only pitched like half a workload, unfortunately. But inning, batter pitcher interaction per batter pitcher interaction. One of the best ones, one of the best ones out there, just not a lot of workload. And then the
Yeah. Real
Mariners.
quick on the Rangers, this is not a guy that I think either of us would have considered for this. I think we would have considered him too high profile. But Nathan Eovaldi is like on track to possibly qualify for the ERA title and just casually has a 213 ERA plus this year.
Yeah, he's
He's at he's at 130 innings. He just pitched yesterday. It'll be he'll have to do really well to find his way to 162 for the year, but like what's going on there? Like he
yeah,
might, it sucks because getting injured like ultimately took him out of the Cy Young race, but he's gonna like he would have been a great candidate for your bold take of a Cy Young winner not qualifying for the ERA title.
yeah, for sure, for sure. If Scooble and Crochet didn't
If he
aren't
pitches 31 innings the rest of the year and gives up 0 earned runs, and Crochet and Scooble both have ERAs in like the mid to high fours for from here on out, you have a chance.
yeah, that we need to consider that. It is funny, like um I hope he goes back to what he was before this year because if you look at his like reference page and look at his ERAs, this year looks especially random because it goes in 2020 it goes 3.72
Yeah.
and to 3.75, 3.87, 3.63, 3.80, and then 1.73.
173.
Um,
He just signed a contract at age 35, by the way.
yeah, and people kind of scoffed at probably us included, like 75 million for Nathan Eovaldi
Yeah,
in
right.
years. That's crazy. No, that's it's actually
That's
crazy how
actually
cheap it
great.
was. crazy how cheap it was. It looks like he got screwed over a little bit, in retrospect. Yeah, yeah, the Rangers have kind of been middling this year, not really meeting expectations. So it's hard to
No, it's quite disappointing.
identify someone who's really been through the roof, performance wise. Yeah, but my Mariners player to watch was Gregory Santos. And
Hmm.
I think in the it wasn't while I was highlighting him, but it was during the predictions episode. I was like, well, we should expect, more than 7 1/3 innings pitched out of Gregory Santos. And yeah, I really jinxed that. He has pitched only 7 innings this year. My goal for him was a sub 3 FIP in 50 plus innings pitched. He currently has a 6.54 FIP in 7.0 innings pitched. And he has not pitched since April 15. So I guess he's matched him and Jonah Bride just have been inactive, since
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson Day. Santos is on the 60-day IL. So yeah. And he didn't even perform well while he was on the field. So that's probably a flop for myself. But yeah, who did
This
you have
is
as a
for
Mariners player to
me
watch?
for me, this is a big year for like former players to watch. Like on the Mariners, my 2024 Mariner to watch, Dominic Canzone has a 131 OPS plus this year. Like that would have been sick if he had done that last year, but alas. However, I'm happy with my Mariners player to watch. I definitely took a risk because I would say that this was my most high profile player to watch that I took this year, and yet I would argue it's still a hit. I'm talking about Brian Wu, who I took as my Mariners player to watch this year. Obviously, he was coming off a season with 120 innings pitched, a 2.89 ERA, a 3.40 FIP. And I said, let's go higher. Let's qualify and reach a 135 ERA plus. Well, he's already at 159 innings. He has gone at least 6 innings in every single one of his 25 starts this season. Only he's tied Randy Johnson for I believe the second longest stretch of 25 stretch of 6+ inning starts in a row in Mariners franchise history, only behind Felix Hernandez. He has a 2.94 ERA, which is a 1.27 ERA plus in Seattle. So, he's not quite to the 135 mark yet, but he is certainly there's no reason to believe he can't get there, given the way that he's been throwing the ball this year. So yeah, this has been a very good one. Brian Wu, very happy about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that you take a big risk when you go high profile, but
You
it's
gotta you gotta set very lofty expectations, and like 135 ERA plus in a qualifying season, like that's you got like that's Cy Young votes.
and
And Wu was like, you know, many would have considered him like the fifth starter in that rotation to begin the year. Like
right,
you
right.
gotta like I know that he's become, I think, such a household name generally around the league this year, especially because he's been healthy a lot, unlike say Bryce Miller, Logan Gilbert, George Kirby this year. Um, but like that was not the case 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
Right. And you're putting park adjusted numbers as the
Yeah,
goal
if
for a
within Seattle, yeah.
yeah, for a Mariners pitcher.
Anyone
Um,
can predict a 135 ERA plus for a Rockies pitcher.
yeah,
I mean,
right.
come on. But Seattle,
Yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, who is your Astros player to watch?
yeah, this is another pitcher. Definitely has not worked out the same way Brian Wu has. It was Spencer Arrighetti, who has missed most of the year with a fractured thumb. He's only pitched 23 1/3 innings pitched this year. Just came off the IL after making a few starts, but it hasn't been good. It's a 6.94 ERA and a 5.86 FIP. My goal for him was to be a top 10 qualified starting pitcher in Ks per nine. His K per nine is down to 8.1 this year, which is definitely not good for, even if he was qualifying, definitely not good for top 10. So yeah, this one unfortunately is a miss. You can use the injury excuse, but when he's been on the field, he definitely hasn't helped himself out at all, even before the injury.
Right, right. So my Astros player to watch was Jake Myers, center fielder for
It's a pretty good one.
Houston. My goal for him was 2.5 F4,
He's
and
there.
currently he has 2.5 F4.
Yeah, he does.
That could, unfortunately with F4, that could change. But he has increased his OPS plus 32 points, and he has kept up his defense with 9 outs above average. So yeah, it's just still elite defense and just way better offense. I will say luck definitely has a good bit to do with that. He is outperforming his expected batting average by 27 points and has a 374 BABIP. He does have a pretty high line drive rate, so that does help out, um, his BABIP a little bit, but shouldn't be by that much necessarily. But nonetheless, a pretty good pick there. What
This is another common shout out to a former Daniel Curran player to watch. 2023 Astros player to watch, Hunter Brown, has been pretty good this year. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah,
Ooh,
he's
this I'm gonna be honest, my AL Central actually might be worse than my NL West.
um yeah, it's hard. That's a hard division in general, honestly.
Yeah.
My White Sox player to watch um was a kind of, blind squirrel theory here. Um I didn't put a goal for him, but because I wasn't aware yet of that
Chris Broke.
being a thing. But Colson Montgomery was my
Yes,
White Sox player to
sir.
watch.
A minor
Um,
leaguer that Chris picked performed well.
yep, broke the curse. Broke the curse as you alluded to there. He has a 123 weighted runs created plus and 161 plate appearances, including today. And if I counted correctly, I believe he has the fourth most F4 among rookies since his debut. So yeah, he's been doing really well. I think he's hit 13 home runs on the year in less than and I think 42 games or something like that. He's swinging the bat really well, and yeah, I like that one. I can't even say like, oh, I analyzed and really did well. I had to pick someone, and he was like their highest ranked prospect besides maybe Kyle Teal, or maybe even above that. So I was just like, he's probably going to come up this year. He's probably better than some of the White Sox players. So I guess I'll pick him, and he's actually worked out. So yeah, that's another good one on my end. Who is your White Sox player to watch?
The White Sox, this is my best hit in the American League Central, no doubt. Uh, give it up for Chase Mydroth, who has an 86 OPS plus for the White Sox this year. But my goal for him was 300 plus plate appearances with a 340 OBP or higher, and he currently has a 336 OBP. So I mean that is well within striking range of getting to his goal. He is slashing 255, 336, 321. Don't look at that part for 657 OPS and 377 plate appearances. Something that I thought about doing, and this goes back to another team, but for the Rays, I thought about taking a reliever named Mike Vassell, but I ended up not doing it. And he got released by the Rays, thrown to the White Sox, and he might have been the best hit you could have had on this team.
Wow.
So I missed on that one. Like I would have considered that a win even if he was my Rays player to watch, because he got picked up by the White Sox like 4 days before opening day, so well after this episode would have come out. Uh, but that would have been a win for me. I would have counted it. It's like when I picked Harold Ramirez for the Cubs, and he got DFA'd, went to the Rays, and was awesome.
Yeah. That that was, a weird way to get a hit, that's for sure.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah, the rest of my AL Central is some of the worst you've ever seen, and I guess I'll just go right ahead. And man, if there's one thing I love on this show, it's being wrong about the Twins. Just like I had this team win in the division. If in case anyone's keeping track at home, uh, and I had David Festa being a big part of why, or maybe not a big part of why I had him. My goal was, I did the thing that you did earlier. My goal for him was 1.5 to 2 F4, which if he had 3 F4, I would have considered it a win.
mhm.
Instead, he has a 5.40 ERA and a 4.86 FIP in 53 and a third innings pitched this year, which is good for 0.3 F4. So not where I wanted him. And he has missed a lot of time this year due to a shoulder injury. But yeah, David Festa, not the guy I was hoping for him to be on the Twins.
Yeah.
Not even a guy that gets more playing time because they just traded everybody.
Yeah, right.
And that's tough.
It is tough. My Twins player to watch was Ryan Jeffers. They're one of their
That's
catchers.
a tough one.
I did not put a goal for him.
That's
He
actually
has a
okay.
he has a 106 OPS plus in 404 plate appearances. He has increased his OPS plus by 3 points. So, I mean, major improvement, that's for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, he's been just kind of the same guy. Really, nothing else to comment on Ryan Jeffers. But I guess we could take
yeah.
a look at some of the Twins that could have been hits. Um, as
Luke Keyshaw, I guess.
right.
Yeah, that's probably it, right?
Yeah, with a 151 OPS plus.
Justin
Yeah,
Topa's been all right.
it's a tough one.
Shout out
Harrison Bader,
Binghamton.
I guess, would have been
Shout out Binghamton, New York native Justin Topa.
Harrison Bader would have been a really nice one, I think.
Yeah, Bader would have been
Right?
decent.
He had a he had a 113, 112 OPS plus with them. And in 2024, he had an 86 OPS plus. So that would have been an improvement for sure.
Matt Wallner was one of my hits last year, and he's been pretty good this year. Not as good as he was last year, though.
Right, right. Um,
How about the Tigers, Chris?
so yeah, the Tigers, I put yeah, Tigers definitely overperforming, so naturally there's a lot of great players to pick, but I picked Parker Meadows. I did not put a goal for him. He's only played 38 games, largely due to injury, and in those 38 games has a 57 OPS plus. His OPS plus has decreased 50 points from 2024 to 2025. Yeah, he's pretty much been a non-factor for the Tigers and their success this year. Kind of contrary to uh, how the how the Tigers succeeded last year in the late stage. He was definitely a factor in that, but not this year. And yeah, not really building off the 2024 campaign at all.
Nope.
Who is your Tigers player to watch?
My Tigers player actually might have been worse than yours. I took Trey Sweeney, who man, has it been rough for him. My goal for him was 100 weighted runs created plus and 5 outs above average. So, the offense and defense combo. Instead, we got a 65 OPS plus and -2 outs above average at short. Javier Baez has played better than him this year. And a lot of the reason why I like Trey Sweeney was because he gave the Tigers an excuse not to play Javier Baez. What we've seen is Javier Baez become an excuse for the Tigers not to play Trey Sweeney, who has a 211, 275, 320 for a 595 OPS this year. Yeah, that's also pretty rough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, two swings and misses on a team where you really had a lot of options to to choose someone who would either resurge or do, make some contribution. I guess I should go to the Tigers reference page to see exactly who we might have missed out on. Yeah, Spencer Torkelson, if we wanted to pick him this year.
Yeah, that would have been a decent one actually, because they took him off his position at the start of the season. Zach McKinstry,
Yeah, McKinstry for sure. I think Torres
Reese
probably would have
Olson
been.
could have been a good one, even though he got hurt.
Yeah, Olsen could have been a good one. If you had Javier Baez with a 94 OPS plus
That
this
would have
year,
been insane.
that would have been a pretty crazy thing to get right. That's for sure. And
Yeah.
he's improved his OPS plus by 50 points this year. Um, that that is pretty
Glaber
crazy.
Torres, maybe.
Yeah, I think Torres is certainly an option. Maybe
Yeah,
Will
Javier Baez
Vest.
was an all-star this year. He was a starting all-star this year.
Will Vest probably would have been a solid one. Although actually he's been about the same as he was last year.
Yeah. I would have had
Uh,
loftier expectations for him if I took him.
yeah. So yeah, there were some options on the Tigers for sure. But on to the Kansas City Royals. I put Lucas Urseg. Um, I did
Nice.
I did not have a goal for
You probably were
him.
like, man, this guy's gonna strike out so many hitters.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he has a 2.53 ERA this year, 1.63 ERA plus, 3.19 FIP in 53 and a third innings pitched. His ERA plus improved 42 points from last year. However, his FIP has gotten over a half run worse, and his strikeout rate has dramatically decreased. I actually thought about this as I was filling out the notes for this, but in the show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, there's this bet between one pair of characters and another pair of characters, and one pair of characters really thinks that they would do well in the suburbs and really enjoy the suburbs because they all live in the city. So they make a bet like if you live in the suburbs for a month and enjoy it, then you win the bet. So they end up hating it, but they fake it to the other pair of characters. And then, after a month, the other pair of characters are like, "Oh, do you like it?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we were able to survive. We like it." And then the other pair were like, "Okay, I bought you a lease for a year here." And then they're like, "No," and then they lose the bet because obviously they don't want to live there for a
Right.
year. So with Lucas Ursag, it's like, yeah, I'll take the win for now, but I do not want to. I
That's how
would.
I felt stupidly with well, I mean, you know what? If I'm gonna make a case against that, that's how I felt with William Contreras after 2023. I was like,
Right.
yeah, it's a win, but he hit 350 on ground balls and only hit ground balls up the middle.
Like, I guess this is a win, but I would not bank on him being successful in the future based off of what he showed me. Like, he does have a 2.53 ERA, but like, I don't know if that's gonna remain that way. So yeah, so I mean, it's a pretty good one, but who did you have in the Royals?
Oh yeah, I mean, not that there's a ton of hits on the Royals this year, although they have been playing better as of late. But I mean, I certainly could have done better than Michael Massey. I would think, who uh has a 34 OPS plus in 209 plate appearances this year and has missed time due to a wrist, back, and ankle injury. So maybe I can use the injury excuse for that one. No, I can't. It's a 34 OPS plus. My goal was 110 to 115 in 400 plus plate appearances. Yeah, I think this is just about the worst person I could have possibly picked on this entire team. Other than like maybe Jack Caglione, but yeah, I don't know how I genuinely don't know how I could have done worse. If you have an answer, please let me know.
Yeah, I don't know. I gotta I gotta check out the Royals roster.
Yeah,
There's not a yeah,
but even
you'd be fishing. In terms of hits, in terms of potential hits we could have had, this was the finally the year that Michael Garcia broke out.
yeah, this is one of your former players to watch.
Yeah, 2024, I had Michael Garcia. He
If you had Noah Cameron, that would have been a hit.
right.
I guess
Um,
Chris Bubich. Honestly, like I don't know why I didn't like Chris Bubich was right there, and I should have just done it.
yeah, yeah,
Like it was so obvious, but also like you know like not everyone would have been talking about how
yeah,
foolish Bailey was.
exactly. It would have paid off. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I did feel a sense of pride when Foolish put Chris Bubich as a pitcher he liked.
Yeah, because he talked about it. Was like, how about that on
Yeah,
our show?
we were like kind of the or 2023 he was talking about him on our show. I think episode 263 if you want to check that out.
Yeah.
Um
Um, Speaking of maybe the worst guy you could have picked on a team, I think this is actually my number one miss this year. Not just because this guy's been really bad this year, but because the miss actually predates the pick. So on August 31st, I text you along with our friends Nico and Rob about a certain player that I really liked. I didn't talk about liking him as a player, but I did really like him. And immediately after that, on that date, from that point to the end of the season, he had a 3 CPS and 57 plate appearances. Um, but if we're looking at aura and hype moments, he had an insanely awesome one single moment in the playoffs, and I decided that was enough to bring it back, and so brought the John Kenzie Noel pick that I made this year for the Cleveland Guardians. My goal for him was 30 home runs. He has 2 home runs, which is actually tells a very small portion of the story because he is so far this year in 111 plate appearances, slashing 140, 162, 215 for a 377 OPS. That is a 4 OPS plus. A 4 OPS plus and minus 1.2 FWAR. Yeah, this one is just like I liked him because he pulled the ball a lot, but I was like, yeah, you know what? Like he'll hit enough pulled fly balls that it'll alleviate a lot of the damage done by the strikeouts, which will happen. And then he didn't do that. Like he lost his spot on the roster not because of injury, but simply because he had a 4 OPS plus. Um, the signs were right there. Like I liked this guy last year and he immediately was terrible. And I was like, nah, that's not real. He'll be fine. And he proceeded to do worse.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's my John Kenzie Noel pick. That is I think my biggest miss this year. And I picked Jonah Bride this year.
yeah. I mean, there was certainly reason to believe in John Kensley
Oh,
well this year,
yeah.
but no, it just unfortunately
No.
didn't work out. My Guardians player to watch was Kyle Manzardo.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I mean, recently it's become a much better one.
yeah, I did not put a goal for him. He has a 112 OPS plus in 407 plate appearances. He has increased his OPS plus 15 points in 2.6 times more plate appearances from last year. And he's also second on the Guardians in batting run value. So essentially, he's brought the second most value at the plate from the Guardians, with Jose Ramirez obviously being first. So yeah, that's been a pretty good one. With him, doing better in a greater sample size and kind of showing that he could be a staple of their lineup on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I think that works out for Kyle Manzardo. Um, what
In terms
were
of best hits on this team, who are we looking at?
yeah, it's a they
I
didn't
guess like
really
CJ Kafis is pretty good. I mean, I know he's barely played, but he had a good year in the minors. Got the call up, obviously. Um,
yeah, not a whole lot in the lineup
no,
to point to,
no,
unfortunately.
not a lot.
Um, I guess just ERA wise, Gavin Williams was a decent one, but he has a 4.49 FIP.
Yeah.
Um,
Another former Daniel guy.
yeah, yeah,
2024 Guardians player to watch, Gavin Williams.
yeah, right. Uh, yeah, not a whole lot of bullpen arms really
Manzardo's probably
shining.
maybe the best guy you could have picked, and Noel's maybe the worst guy you could have picked.
That's that's
We are
something to
onto our
start.
final division though,
Yes, our final division, where we picked the Blue Jays first because they were in last.
and now they're in first.
No, they're in first. Wow. Um, my player to watch was Will Wagner. Um, he's not
Who is
on the
now a
Blue Jays
San Diego
anymore.
Padre.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. He's my goal for him was a 120 OPS plus and 300 plus plate appearances. I was a fan of his bat to ball skills, like low strikeout rate, high walk rate, very high line drive rate at the major league level. But currently he has a 78 OPS plus in 132 plate appearances, and he was traded to the Padres. And I guess maybe a little bit of to soften the blow a little bit for myself. Out of 385 hitters to see 500 plus pitches this year, he had the 25th unluckiest difference in batting average and expected batting average. Puts him well within the top 10% of unlucky hitters in terms of batting average versus expected batting average. Probably had a lot of line drive outs. However, even if he did have normal expected numbers, or if he had if his actual numbers match his expected numbers, he would not have a 120 OPS plus. So, probably yeah, definitely not a hit by any stretch, and probably, could be one of my flops. Who did you have as a Blue Jays player to watch?
This is a rough one for me. This is a team where there were a lot of guys that could have worked. I picked Orelvis Martinez, who has not appeared at the big leagues this year. My goal for him was to be an everyday player by the end of the season with above average offense in the second half. Technically still possible, but definitely not the route that I was hoping it would go. So far this year, he is slashing 180, 291, 356 for a 647 OPS in 379 AAA play appearances. All of his under the surface stuff is actually still the same. He's still pulling the ball. He's still hitting a lot of fly balls. However, his K rate is up 5% from last year. There are plenty of guys that could have worked on this team. Addison Barger would have been a very nice one. There's a lot of pitchers that would have looked good. Eric Lauer, Braden Fish, if you picked him, Brandon Little, if you picked him, maybe even Yariel Rodriguez could have worked, although he's had a high FIP. But I picked Orelvis Martinez.
Right, right. And yeah, so that's the Blue Jays.
Or you could have picked Tyler Heineman, who for some reason has an 880 OPS.
Yeah, yeah.
Like why? I don't know.
So yeah, who is your Rays player? Who's your Rays player to watch?
Yeah, so my Rays player to watch. This is, I think, one of my hits. Although I was kind of stupid with what I went with for my goal. I picked Drew Rasmussen, and hey, look at that. He had a good year. He's having a good year. My goal was, I don't know why I picked this, but my goal was 2023 Tarek Skubal type season, in which he threw 80 innings, had like a flat 2 FIP, and was just disgusting. But if you think about it, Rasmussen's ERA plus this year is only 2 points behind what Skubal's was in 2023, and he has 40 more innings this year. So I'll take that as a win, even if it doesn't exactly hit my goal. He's at a 2.62 ERA this year with a 3.49 FIP and 123 and 2/3 innings. He was an all-star for the first time this year. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. I think it's a really good pick, probably one of my best this year. And he's been like pretty much the ace of the Rays, I would say, this year. He's stayed healthy, which is something that obviously he's struggled with in the past, which is definitely a big part of the win. And yeah, 157 ERA plus in what will be just short of a qualifying season.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good stuff. No matter how high profile the guy is, if you even call Drew Rasmussen high profile,
He definitely was not at the beginning of the year, I'll tell you that.
yeah, right, exactly. Everyone was excited about the Shane McClanahan return. Unfortunately, that just
that didn't happen.
really imploded.
Yeah.
So my Rays player to watch, definitely one of my better ones. Jonathan Aranda.
I think we literally picked the best 2 Rays we could have picked.
Yeah.
I think we literally could have not have done better, like 1 and 2.
Yeah, on a team that kind of disappointed. So
also, Jonathan Aranda, another former Daniel player to watch.
Yes, indeed, indeed.
What's the thing they say? Never wrong, just early.
Yes, yeah. I forgot to put a goal on him, but he does have a
whatever it is, he hit it.
He does have a 142 OPS plus in 409 plate appearances. I think he would have exceeded that. He has increased his OPS plus 33 points in 2.9 times more plate appearances than he had last year. And he leads the Rays in batting run value, along with that 90th percentile or higher in all expected categories: average exit velocity, hard hit rate, and sweet spot rate. So yeah, I mean, Aranda, he could be competing for number one. Anytime your player to watch ends up being an all-star, that's a great sign, and that's what he was.
Did the Rays have Junior? Was Junior Caminero an all-star this year? I hope he was.
He might have been.
He was, yes. And Brandon Lau was too. So the Rays had 4 all-stars. 2 of them were players to watch who I don't think we would have expected to be there at the beginning of the season, or most people wouldn't have.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pretty crazy. So yeah, shout out to us and the Rays. We killed it there.
Happy about it.
But yeah, so on to the Red Sox. I think we shared this one.
Yes, we did. We both picked Justin Slayton.
We both picked Justin Slayton. My goal for him was a sub-3 ERA and 50+ innings pitched. Currently, he has a 3.47 ERA and 3.20 FIP in 23 and a third innings pitched. He's had a 60-day IL stint. He's not going to get the innings mark. So, no matter what he did, it was going to be hard to have him be a hit considering how much time he's missed. So yeah, it's sort of a net neutral there.
Yeah. My goal for him was to lead the Red Sox in saves, which, my bad. I didn't have Aroldis Chapman turning back the clock 10 years. Or even maybe beyond that, like to his literally he's having the best season he's had since his Reds days. I didn't have that. So I had Justin Slayton leading the team in saves. He has 3, not going to do that. Obviously, he's missed a lot of time this year due to a shoulder injury, but he was pitching well before he went down, and I think whenever he comes back, he will be a massive addition to the Red Sox bullpen.
Right. Yeah.
Not much
Absolutely.
else to say there.
If he was healthy, he probably could have hit the goals that we set for him.
Definitely not mine. Maybe yours though.
Yeah, or sorry, I forgot. What
I
was
don't
it?
think they would have taken. I don't think they would have taken Chapman out of the closer role for him.
Oh yeah.
He would have to be really, really good for that.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, in terms of hits, if either of us took a shot in the dark on Carlos Narvaez,
Oh
that
my
would have been
God,
pretty legendary. But but no, we did not.
that would have been
Trevor's
sick.
Trevor's Story maybe could have been eligible to be.
I would have considered it. Like if you have a 9-figure contract, like it would like I don't know, like you would have to be like 2018 Chris Davis for me to put you down for that. Romy Gonzalez is someone I thought about putting. That would have been probably a bigger dub.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Willie Abreu probably maybe not
Yeah.
eligible. Um, yeah, Roman Anthony definitely not eligible.
Oh, hell no.
I guess Rafaela could have been a win.
I can sure tell you I was not putting Rafaela at the beginning of the
Me,
year.
me neither. Me neither.
I would have put literally anyone else on the team before him.
He had enough hype from a certain sect of Red Sox fans.
Yeah.
But I guess Aroldis Chapman maybe could have been the
Yeah.
one because he's only on a $10 million deal and
He
he's
is
not.
37.
Yeah, he's 37 and he hasn't been like that. He hasn't been that guy since,
The Reds, literally the Reds.
yeah, the Reds.
He
Um,
hasn't given up a hit in over a month. Like he's on some 2013 Koji Uehara stuff.
it's pretty crazy. So I guess he could have been eligible and been quite the hit. But who was your Orioles player to watch?
This was another tough one for me. I took Ryan Mountcastle because they moved the fence in at Camden Yards, and he was the only right-handed power somewhat bat, even though he doesn't even pull the ball. But I thought maybe he would have more like he would have more incentive to pull the ball. He has an 83 weighted runs created or 80 OPS plus this year. That's not good. He does have a 122 TOPS plus at home, and all of his home runs come at home this year. He has 4 of them. I felt about this year. Uh, Obviously this is only a year and a half sample at this point, but he had his career highest bat speed like individually on a single swing. I thought, man, like we're getting a big bat speed increase from Mountcastle. Like, yeah, he's good. He's itching to pull the ball more. That just never came to fruition. A goal for him was his best offensive season since 2020, which was his rookie year in which he was very good in a short sample. His OBP, slugging, OPS, and weighted runs created plus and OPS plus are all career lows this year.
Yeah.
So that's not it. What about you?
It would have been tough to get a good Oriole. I also had a flop on Baltimore.
Yeah.
My player to watch for the Orioles was Heston Kjerstad.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to put a goal on him, but he definitely wouldn't have hit it if I put one. He has a 57 OPS plus in 167 plate appearances. His OPS plus decreased 58 points from 2024 to 2025. His BABIP went down 98 points, so I think luck does have a little bit to do with that. Although I think if he had normal numbers, he probably wouldn't, his actual numbers wouldn't be that great anyway. Out of 385 hitters to see 500 plus pitches, his expected WOBA and WOBA difference is the 14th unluckiest. However, part of that has to do with the fact that he only pulled 14% of his fly balls this year. And to top it all off, Heston Kjerstad is currently in the minors. So I don't think he's improving that 57 OPS plus anytime soon, considering he is not in the major leagues. So yeah, the Orioles crashed and burned this year, especially to start the year, and that was sort of exemplified with our players to watch on their team. But in terms, I guess we should look
There were a couple hits. Trevor Rogers is definitely the biggest one
Okay.
that you could have
Yeah.
had on the Orioles. If you told me if you put Ramon Laureano as your Orioles player to watch this year, I would have been like, oh, Ramon Laureano's on the Orioles now. That's cool.
Same.
Cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
But he had what an 884 OPS with them before
Um,
getting traded.
yes. Yes. 144 OPS plus. Um, yeah, there were a couple guys, but we did not pick them. Um, my and yeah, with the final team, my Yankees player to watch was Ben Rice. Uh,
Hey, that's a good one.
yeah, my goal for him was a 105 OPS plus in at least 250 plate appearances. He currently has, or at least heading into Sunday, a 125 OPS plus in 414 plate appearances. So not only has greatly met the OPS plus standard, but also the plate appearance standard. He's fourth on the Yankees in batting run value, and he also has 91st percentile chase rate and is 94th percentile or higher in all expected categories: average exit velocity, hard hit rate, and barrel rate. So Ben Rice has definitely exceeded my expectations. I think his OPS plus was in the 70s last year. I pointed out he got unlucky, and lo and behold,
He's still getting unlucky.
he's still getting unlucky, but he's doing better
Like way
still.
more unlucky, actually.
Yeah, he's doing better somehow. But yeah, excellent under the surface numbers and very good on the surface numbers, and that's made him a pretty good hit for me. Who is your Yankees player to watch?
Yeah, my Yankees player to watch was Fernando Cruz. He's been all right. I mean, he is hurt right now. He's missed time due to an oblique injury. However, he is about to come back from that. Um, I talked a lot about his strikeout numbers, a lot of his below the surface numbers because he was one of those low FIP, high ERA guys last year with the Reds. And I said, if he can put up similar below the surface numbers but get his ERA plus to 125, I think that's a win. Currently, he's pitched 33 innings. He has a 137 ERA plus, and his under the surface stats have actually gotten better. So I'll consider that one a win. Obviously, there's still time to go. He's a reliever. And that can change at any moment. But I'm happy with what I've gotten from Fernando Cruz so far.
Yeah, it's a solid one. I remember particularly appreciating the analysis on that one, with all the splitter statistics.
Yep.
Um,
What do we got
but
for possible hits on the Yankees? I guess like Cam Schlittler, Will Warren are good
uh,
ones. Tim Hill is a good one. I don't know about anyone in the Ben Rice is probably the best position player you could have picked from this team.
yeah, Bellinger's a little high profile.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, Jazz Chisholm is the one that I'm very happy about. Like I didn't put him as a player to watch, but I had him as my number 3 second baseman in baseball,
right.
and that's worked out pretty well.
Trent Grisham would have been a good one
Oh yeah, Trent Grisham would have been probably the best one you could have had. I didn't even think about that.
if you had, if you like, if you just for some reason wanted
I mean, yeah,
wanted
if
to put
if
him.
you went back to 2021 mode,
Yeah, right. I mean, there was that stretch. He was an amazing outfielder.
he was in the 10-10 club in
Yeah,
2020.
yeah, and I think like
Only 5 other players did that.
In May of 2021, like from 2020 up until then, from the start of 2020 up until then, the F4 rankings, like in no particular order on the top three, went like Soto, Acuna, Trout, and
Trent Grisham.
Trent Grisham.
Yeah.
It was it
Padres
was
got a good one from the Brewers here.
it was the most insane thing. Um, yeah, yeah, a shame they had to give up Luis Urias in that trade. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I
um,
know it's tough getting rid of a guy like that, but you know what? Grisham's been
yeah, right.
pretty solid.
Um,
Kind
but
of
yeah,
funny that Trent Grisham is like has a legacy of like being the throw-in piece to a trade and actually being the most impactful asset from it,
true. Yeah, right. What
at
a
least on the Yankees side of things.
He's had a pretty interesting legacy for a guy who hasn't really like don't think I would say he hasn't done a whole lot in his career, but he's been involved in a lot of things, like whether
Yeah, the center of a lot of moments.
yeah, the let the ball go by him in the wild card game in 2019, part of a big trade, um,
Part of
and
another
then
big trade.
part of another
Yeah.
big trade, and then like turn into the Yankees like one of the Yankees' best hitters this year at a certain point in
Hmm.
time. Also a great playoff performance in 2022, I'm pretty sure.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Went crazy
Um,
in that Mets series.
yeah, so he was a big part of that. Yeah, he's a guy, that's for sure.
One
Um,
of the guys.
Shout out to Trent Grisham.
We are
Um,
Trent Grisham enjoyers on this show.
yeah, for
Chris
sure.
especially.
Yes, my pandemic roots, that's when I really just started to,
Be a
when
Trent Grisham
the
guy.
world shut down, that's when I really started to
When
appreciate
no one else
Trent
was there
Grisham.
for me, Trent Grisham was there.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's it for our little accountability segment.
Yeah.
Um, Now, yeah, do we want to move on to players to highlight?
Let's do it.
So yeah, we go from players to watch to players to highlight, starting with the lows. So we end with the highs with our technically it's Monday now.
Yeah.
Monday, August 25, 2025 edition of Slightly Alarming Statistics. He's been barreling up the ball way less.
He's not missing bats. He's not getting the ball on the ground, and people are hitting it in the air more.
It's been so bad. He is getting a
Slightly alarming.
Yes, so for my slightly alarming, I am talking about a guy. I feel kind of bad. Like anytime there's a guy that like conceivably could have been a how about that we don't highlight, but then he becomes like recognizable enough to be a slightly alarming, and we do that, I feel kind of bad. Although for like I mentioned earlier with this guy, would have been too high profile for me when he was going. But he is now high profile enough to be a slightly alarming. I'm talking about Mackenzie Gore, who has had a rough go of it in the second half. He's made 7 starts, has a 7.88 ERA, a 6.24 FIP, and has pitched 32 innings. He hasn't missed a start, but doesn't qualify in that span because he just simply has not pitched enough innings to qualify despite that. So among the 99 pitchers to pitch at least 30 innings throughout the second half, Mackenzie Gore ranks third worst in ERA, fifth worst in FIP, and is tied for third worst in F4. His K rate minus walk rate has gone from 22.7% before the span to 9.2% in the span. That's a sharp decrease in strikeout rate and a sharp increase in walk rate combined. His average exit velocity against has gone from 88.9 miles per hour before the span to 91.5 miles per hour in this span. And additionally, his pulled air rate has gone from 15.2% before the span to 20% in this span. So he's giving up harder contact and pulling it in the air a lot more. Opponents are doing so, and that obviously is a bad combination to have if you're a pitcher. His 30% line drive rate in the second half ranks eighth highest among the 68 pitchers with at least 100 batted balls allowed in the span. His barrel rate against on fly balls has gone from 23.9% before the span to 33% in this span. That's about a 9.1% increase. It is tied for the seventh highest barrel rate on fly balls against among the 80 pitchers with at least 25 fly balls allowed in this span. And lastly, I mentioned the decrease in strikeout rate, the increase in walk rate. A lot of that can be explained by his change in chase rate, which has gone from 31.9% before the span to 24% in the span. That's an 8% decrease. Obviously, that's what would otherwise be strikes becoming balls, otherwise weak contact becoming another ball in the count. So that's not good. And Mackenzie Gore has been struggling in the second half, and he is getting a slightly alarming.
Yeah, Mackenzie Gore.
Slightly alarming.
Yeah, he was the strikeout machine of April. But yeah, just kind of coming back down to earth a little bit.
He was like the last hope for my bold prediction of a guy striking out 300 batters in less than 200 innings, and that's not going to happen now.
Right. Yeah. Bold predictions. I mean, they're bold for a reason.
Yeah.
My slightly alarming is about one of the I'll say just in general for the show, one of the best hits on player to watch in the history of ARR, but
Yeah.
he's getting a slightly alarming. But to congratulate, he's made himself into a player that is worthy of getting a slightly alarming.
It's true.
You do have to meet a standard there. Talking about Stephen Kwan of the
The
Cleveland
greatest hit of all
Guardians.
time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, going from kind of a zero, like non-top 30 prospect in the organization, to one of their best players in the organization. Um, and yeah, Stephen Kwan in his last 49 games, including today, is hitting 221 with a 590 OPS. Out of 168 qualified hitters in the span heading into Sunday, Kwan had the 19th lowest on base percentage, 9th lowest slugging, and 10th lowest OPS. And this is a 49 game span, so it is kind of a bigger deal. Out of 86 hitters to see 750 plus pitches heading into Sunday, his expected slugging was 8th lowest and expected WOBA was 6th lowest. His average exit velocity has gone from 85.3 miles per hour before the span to 83.5 miles per hour in the span. And out of 86 hitters heading into Sunday, his average exit velocity ranked the lowest. Also, his line drive rate has gone from 29% to 24%, kind of a bigger deal over a 49 game span. His rate of batted balls being hard hit line drives has also gone from 8.8% to 4.8%. And kind of pretty alarmingly, his pop up rate has gone from 2.3% before the span to 9.1% in the span. And yeah, if you're Stephen Kwan,
Yeah, you can't be popping the ball up.
yeah, if you're Stephen Kwan and you hit the ball soft, I mentioned that average exit velocity was 85.3 miles per hour before the slump, not very high. You got to be hitting a lot of line drives in order to be productive offensively. His line drive rate has kind of come to a league average rate or maybe even below that. And his pop-up rate has ballooned up. So that's gonna, create a lot worse bad luck for him. And that's resulted in him hitting 221 with a 590 OPS in a 49 game span. And yeah, Kwan is getting a
Slightly alarming.
So now we go from the lows to the highs where we were talking players or subjects that have been outperforming expectations with our Monday, August 25, 2025 edition of How About That?
He's striking out less, walking more, and he's also making better contact.
Turning into a strikeout machine just out of nowhere.
He's been excellent all around this year.
And he is getting a
How about that?
Yeah, so I am sticking with an NL East starting pitcher here, crossing a team off the list, and more importantly, another former Daniel player to watch. My 2024 Atlanta Braves player to watch is my How About That today. I'm talking about Hurston Waldrep, who has made 4 starts this season, which is normally not, I normally don't consider that enough for a How About That. I'd like to see at least 5 in a span, but I feel really good about what he's done in his last 4, and I think it has implications going into this offseason and seasons beyond this one. In 4 starts this year, he has an 0.73 ERA along with a 190 FIP in 24 2/3 innings pitched. Among the 81 qualifying starters throughout the month of August, he ranks 4th lowest in ERA, 3rd lowest in FIP, and his 1.0 F4 ranks 4th. He only threw 7 innings in 2024, but in such, his 4-seam fastball, which was his primary pitch, got lit up for a 308 opponent's average, a 769 opponent slugging, and a 6% whiff rate against, which your primary pitch cannot have a 6% whiff rate in most scenarios. Obviously, it's only a 7-inning sample, so it's not, huge. But this year, his 4-seam fastball has only been thrown 5 total times in 4 starts. Instead, his primary pitch this year is his splitter, which he has thrown 31.4% of the time. Opponents are hitting 0.61 against it with no extra base hits and a 48.2% whiff rate. Among the 522 pitchers to ever throw at least 100 splitters in any calendar month since 2008, Hurston Waldrep's 4.61 run value per 100 is the 9th highest. So that's 522 calendar months over the last 17 years at this point, and only 8 months rank higher than Hurston Waldrep. That's pretty good. He also, with 2 strikes, ups the usage on his splitter to 72.4%, which is the 9th highest usage of any pitch by any pitcher with 2 strikes this year. His splitter with 2 strikes has a 48.8% whiff rate. It actually goes up. and naturally a 34.9% put away rate. So it is not only his primary pitch, but it is also one of the best out pitches in all of baseball. He ranks first in overall in run value per 100 over the last month among the 140 pitchers to throw at least 250 total pitches throughout the month as a 3.0 run value per 100. Additionally, this year, Waldrop debuted a new cutter, which is his second most used pitch. Opponents are hitting 227 and slugging 273 against it, with a 5-degree average launch angle, which is the tied for the 5th lowest launch angle among the 43 pitchers with at least 10 batted balls recorded against a cutter this month. I think Kirsten Waldrop is an ace level pitcher. I think he is comfortably going to be in the rotation next year. And with, Strider struggling, with Sale, coming off of injury and not getting any younger, I think there's a very good chance we see Hurston Waldrop as perhaps the top arm in the Braves rotation next year. And for that reason, I'm calling a shot now and giving him a how about that.
Yeah. What's his first name again?
Hurston Waldrop.
Hurston Waldrop.
How about that?
Waldrop.
Yeah, he was the Braves' first round pick in 2023. He came out of Florida, and I immediately put him as a player to watch in 2024. Sticking with my guns this year. Now that we've seen it starts.
There we go. Well, yeah, we had the same idea of crossing a team off the list. However, we're crossing the same team off the list, not using the same player though.
Again.
Not using the same.
Yours is a comeback special, I believe, isn't it?
No, it is actually. I'm going reliever diving on this one.
Oh, I thought you were going with Harris.
No, it is Pierce Johnson.
That's a good one.
Of the Atlanta Braves. In his last 25 appearances, including today, he has only allowed 1 run, resulting in a 0.36 ERA in 24 2/3 innings pitched. Heading into Sunday, out of 186 qualified relievers, he ranked 2nd in ERA. And out of 411 total pitchers to throw 250 plus pitches in this span heading into Sunday, his expected WOBA against ranked 7th. And that's an important stat because expected WOBA is a 1-to-1 correlation with expected ERA. So essentially, he has the 7th best expected ERA out of 411 in his last 25 appearances. His part of this has to do with hitters hitting the ball softer against him. His average exit velocity against has gone from 90.4 miles per hour before the span to 88.6 miles per hour in this span. And his barrel rate, most significantly, has gone from 11.5% to 1.7%. Out of 411 pitchers, his barrel rate against was 3rd lowest. And on fly balls particularly, his barrel rate on them has gone from 32% to 5%. And out of 231 pitchers to allow 20 plus fly balls in this span, his barrel rate on fly balls was 2nd lowest. And his pull rate on fly balls against him has gone from 37% to 25%. And this has all made his home run rate go from 3.2% to 1.1%, including today. So yeah, Pierce Johnson, really man in the bullpen over there in Atlanta, and he is getting a
how about that?
All right, so that shall do it. 4 players to highlight.
That'll do it.
Any final words?
The Blue Jays and Marlins played one of the worst color clashes I've ever seen in a baseball game today. And for those of you that don't know me, because I talk about this quite often in real life, I am colorblind, and the Blue Jays were wearing their Sunday baby blues. The Marlins were also wearing light blues, and the way that I was watching MLB TV today was I had the quad box on 2 different computers, so I was watching 8 games at a time, which means I wasn't super locked into that game. But if there was something happening, I had to it was the first time in my life, other than in spring training game, where I actually had to really focus in on being okay, wait, which team actually is that? I don't know. But this is a brutal. I've never seen anything like it, truly. If I was quick glancing at the screen, I couldn't tell you what team was what for a quick second.
Damn.
I don't know if you're looking at it right now.
The Blue Jays, Marlins.
The big difference is that the Blue Jays were wearing blue pants and the Marlins were wearing white pants. But if I was just looking at the jerseys, I would have had no idea for a quick second.
That is something. I'll have to look at the highlights there.
Yeah.
Because I did not tune into that series at all. But yeah, no, that is I mean, I do, sometimes I do forget, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that is, that can present some issues sometimes.
It rarely happens in baseball. Like it really does not happen that often.
Right. Well, I mean at least
And
that's a
also
benefit.
luckily baseball is the one sport where it actually doesn't matter. Like when the NFL used to do the color rush, like if there was a team wearing all red and a team wearing all green, I had no chance. Baseball, it is obviously like, you know, you can actually get away with wearing the same color because it's easy to know who's on your team and who's not. Like if you had a colorblind quarterback and everyone's jersey looked the same, like that obviously creates some severe issues.
Yeah. I'm pretty
Um,
sure Jameis Winston was colorblind.
oh well, that would explain a lot.
Yeah, right. That would explain. I think it was after 2019. He was like, "Yeah, I'm colorblind." After I just threw 30 interceptions, I think I'm colorblind.
Yeah, see, baseball, thankfully, you don't have that issue. It's easy to tell who's on your team and who isn't, even if everyone's wearing the same thing
Right. Yeah,
when
exactly.
you're on the field.
Yeah, I've never.
So if you're a pitcher, it's like the guy in the batter's box is not on my team. I want to get that guy out.
Yeah, I've never worried about throwing to someone who's not wearing a glove.
Yeah, right, right. Thanks,
That's
but yeah, it was from a watching standpoint, it was quite difficult today.
yeah, right. That's something. That's something for sure. Um, well, yeah, I appreciate those final words.
Yeah,
It's good to know. I'll have to tune into the highlights and maybe show a clip here on the channel here.
yeah.
Um, Tune into Above Replacement Radio YouTube for that. But yeah, anything else before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. Do you have anything else?
No,
All
no.
right.
Good full episode here. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and want to watch the conversation as it happens, go to the YouTube channel. It's called Above Replacement Radio. We have all sorts of stuff. Feel free to check out the latest video essay, Hitting Wins Championships. The algorithm
Oh,
didn't
I didn't see
necessarily,
this yet.
yeah, the algorithm did not necessarily pick that one up. So I
Oh,
recommend you
all
select
right.
that one
Do
and
you
watch
talk
that
about the
one.
1993 Blue Jays?
I do not. I specifically only talk about the 21st century.
Okay.
But but yeah, it's a shorter video, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, YouTube's kind of random like that, and I had
Yeah.
some good luck with the previous three, so I'm not going to complain too much. But yeah, feel free to check that out or the three other video essays on the channel. Also, check out the guest interviews playlist. It features Jeff Passan, Chris Rose, Foolish Bailey, Sarah Langs, Mike Petriello, Matt Brash, Mark Simon four times. And also follow us on social media. Follow me on Twitter, @Echos_Gianta. Follow Daniel on both Twitter and Instagram @Daniel_Curran, and follow the show Instagram @Above Replacement Radio for all the show needs. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we hope to see you next time where we are talking all the happenings in Major League Baseball. Once again, see you then.
This conversation is over.
Is over.